if we support VISD Education Foundation, how can we impact students to let them know in high school or even in middle school that in a hospital, there's more than just doctors and nurses. Mm-hmm. There are people who work in the lab, people who are respiratory therapists, people who work in imaging. There are people who work in our clinics. Mm-hmm. And so we identified that opportunity.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Town Talk. That's right. We have a very important community member here, community leader, I should say, and a business here in Victoria who impacts really a lot of our community residents. A lot of people who want to come to Victoria are looking, what does healthcare look like in Victoria, right? And so our special guest here is Bernard Leger, our CEO of DeTar. How are you?
Thanks, Ashley. I am good. You get brownie points out the gate. You got Leger right. So
I
some
really
people
had
struggle
to
with it.
practice that in my mind. I was like, don't get it wrong. Don't get it wrong.
It's all good.
Awesome.
It's all good.
Well, thanks for being on the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me here.
Yeah.
I will say that it's my first podcast. So,
you're going to have fun.
From here, I think it could only go up, right?
Right.
May start my own blog. Who
Right.
knows?
We would love to hear that. You know, it's funny because I've been kind of in your hemisphere for the past 5-6 years that I've been here at the city. And so, of course, during COVID response, we, of course, wanted to communicate the situation to the public. And so saw you around and, of course, collaborated with you then. But in this setting, it's going to be interesting because I'm getting to know you already. Even just our pre-convo before we started was learning more about who you are, who Bernard Leger is behind the suit. So looking forward to get to know you a little better, too.
Yeah, so Louisiana boy.
Yeah.
Born in a small town between Lake Charles and Lafayette on a farm. And healthcare is all I've ever done.
Nice.
This is 35 years for me.
Wow.
I was a child prodigy. I started at 4, half day of pre-K and a half day of hospital CEO work.
Wow.
It's all that I've ever done. It's my passion.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate to have a great team at DeTar. I tell them all the time, my job is impossible without them making that DeTar difference every day.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Okay, before we continue, we have to show the shirt. There's a little symbol you have here.
Yeah, so this is a crawfish, not
I noticed.
a craw bug or whatever some people call it. This is actually from a clothing store out of Baton Rouge called Perlis.
Love it.
And so my family always hooks me up with Perlis attire. So I have short sleeve shirts, long sleeve shirts.
Love it. I'm sure my family member, I told you earlier, I have family in Lafayette, so I'm sure he'll know about that if I ask him.
Absolutely.
I'll ask him.
We talked about boudin.
Yeah.
We talked about cracklins.
Cracklins. I was like, what are those little crunchy things? Of course you knew.
Absolutely. It keeps the cardiovascular business in service. They are not the most healthy of treats.
That is true.
But everything in moderation, right?
Right.
Everything in moderation.
Well, you mentioned a joke earlier about LSU, and that actually makes me think, TAMU V is coming to Victoria, Texas A&M University, Victoria. We're very excited. Yeah. We keep talking about it. Our mayor has been on here talking about it. And so what was interesting when I was working with you and Miss Emily over here about, what's DeTar been up to, just to get me briefed on what y'all's latest efforts are. You mentioned you have already partnered with Texas A&M. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. So 9 years ago, we began a residency program for family medicine with Texas A&M. So they have been part of our campus for 9 years.
Wow.
At the end of this month, we will graduate 9 residents who are going to become family medicine physicians. We're excited because obviously we need physicians across the country.
Right.
What we're most excited about is 2 of them are going to stay in Victoria. Neither of them are from here. One's from the Valley, the other one's from San Antonio. But because of their experience in our residency program, they are going to stay here, and they're going to be actually located soon to be on the A&M Victoria campus.
Oh, wow.
That's where their clinic will be, August 1st. So we're really excited about it.
Wow. There's so much going on over there.
It is.
And I know the transition will be effective September 1.
Correct.
So, so we'll see what comes out of that. Did you mention, too, there's going to be a clinic?
Yes, so we will have 2 of those residents who are graduating. They will actually have a clinic within the health and wellness building. So on the north side of the building, there's an offset, and that's where their clinic will be. So we, I guess about 3 weeks ago, we had an opportunity to go see it. Dr. Glenn took us on a tour of the whole building. Great for students, right?
Yeah.
So our goal is to have faculty from both UHV and Victoria College, as well as students, and then that clinic is going to actually be open to the public.
Was just going to ask that.
Yes.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, so we're excited. You know, we will have graduated almost 70 residents at the end of this month through the residency program.
That's exciting.
It is. It is. You know, our partnership has been great with them. We're excited about the A&M Victoria coming into existence.
Right.
We think that it fits the community well. We've already met with them and talked about opportunities on how we partner even more into the future, such as having medical students who aren't quite in residency, having those medical students come and rotate at the hospital.
Oh, how nice.
Give them that exposure.
Yeah, they'll definitely need it.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that we were super excited to hear about TAMUV, Texas A&M, coming to Victoria and taking over our community's campus was because they're going to provide more local resources and programs in the areas of agriculture. Now I'm learning a little bit more in the area of medicine as well. And that's critical for retaining local workforce here. We have a lot of people who maybe, go elsewhere for education and then they end up moving away.
Right.
And so the more we can retain people here, the better we'll be able to grow. Our mayor likes to talk about growing Victoria, so I had to connect the dots there a little bit.
So, one of the things that was an aha for us, we met with that group from A&M right before Easter. One of the things that I really wasn't aware of, every year they bring in between 10 and 15,000 freshmen into their main campus, right? They get 70,000 applications a year for freshmen.
Wow.
So guess what? That means 50+ thousand are not going to get into College Station.
Right.
Where we got excited listening to this as part of Victoria was for people that live in this area, they can start at UHV Victoria. After a year, they may be able to move to College Station. So we were excited. I don't know if we saw that under the UHV model.
Right.
They were great partners, but we are excited. I think the community is excited for what A&M is going to bring to the table.
For sure. And DeTar's partnership with it. So thank you all for what y'all do in that effort.
Absolutely.
Well, let's switch gears over to DeTar a little bit more now. You gave me this handy dandy community benefit report. And hey, guys, multimedia crew over here. If y'all want to throw that up on the screen, I have it here in front of me, but we would love for our listeners and our viewers to see it. It's a very good snapshot of what all you have been working towards and have achieved. And in such a little amount of time, because this is just 1 year highlight. And I'm seeing, 257,000 patient encounters, 116 million uncompensated care. A lot more of information is here. Do you want to start talking to us a little bit about how you guys got there?
Sure. So as I figured y'all would have to put it up, right? So I will explain why the CEO of DeTar decided to put a Mr. Peanut costume on, right? So we did a peanut drive.
Did we mention that?
We did a peanut butter drive.
That's awesome.
Last year we did about 1,100 drawers.
Wow.
When Emily came on board, she said we can do better, and we did. We did almost 5,000 jars of peanut butter, and not only for Victoria but for the outlying areas as well. So really our community benefits report, it's really a one-page summary of here's what we give back and here's how we impact the community. Right. We have over 1,200 employees, so we are one of the top employers in Victoria. Our payroll per year is almost $100 million, right? So what does that mean, right? That means that people who are living here, right, turn around and reinvest in our city, whether it's shopping, whether it's buying a house. And so we're excited about that. We're excited to tell our story. We've been here for 101 years.
Wow.
So 1924, the original hospital opened, and it was a 2-story house where administration sits, and it had a barn in the back.
Oh, wow, really?
And it grew to where we are today, 2 campuses. Our North Campus is primarily focused on women and children's, but we have a full-service ER that sees a lot of adults.
Right.
COVID, as horrible as that was, really educated the public that our North Campus takes care of adults. Right? When you hear women and children's, you think, unless you're going to have a baby or you have a child, that's not the ER to go to.
Sure.
And so we've seen some benefit from that. We continue to grow not only for Victoria, but for the Crossroads area, right? Victoria is always going to be our primary focus.
Right.
But we know that there are outlying markets who don't have all of the services that we provide in Victoria.
Right.
And so we want to be that resource to them as well.
Absolutely.
For example, we did 2,000 transfers from the outlying markets into Victoria on a higher level of care. Patients don't want to go to the big city unless they absolutely have to. So we're bringing that to the table and allowing people to come to Victoria.
Right.
For some, they've never stepped foot in DeTar. So we're mindful of that as they come in of, hey, we realize that you're not from here. But again, our focus has always been Victoria. So everything that we look at doing, we look at how we impact the city of Victoria, Victoria County.
Right. You mentioned, speaking of accessibility, how are you expanding access? I think you mentioned to specialty care here in Victoria.
Sure. Well, it all starts with primary care. All right. So Dr. Rodriguez, Dr. Gonzalez are the 2 residents that are going to graduate in June. We're also bringing a primary care mid-level on board. Jessica Heller is going to be joining us in August. And so it starts with primary care. And one of the things that we try and do is we really try and educate people on the importance of primary care. I don't care how old you are, right? And we're going to talk to college students about this as we open our clinic. Once a year, you have to get a baseline going. You have to get some lab work done, right? For the vast majority, your lab work is going to be that of a 20-year-old, right? It's going to be fine. For some, we may start to find trends that need to be monitored, whether it's elevated blood sugar, whether it's hypertension, whether it's something blood count isn't exactly right. Doesn't mean that there's cause for alarm, but it means that it needs to be monitored.
Right.
And so for us, it really starts there. And then we're fortunate to have specialists that support, right? So we have general surgeons who actually do GI procedures, right? They're skilled at both of those. It is all about prevention. And one of the things we're very focused on, Ashley, is mammograms and colonoscopies. Neither are the most entertaining thing to have to do.
Right.
Right. But it's important. Right. Early detection is so key.
Right.
And when we see an advanced stage cancer, we always take a step back and say, what efforts could we have taken to encourage people to come in and get screenings done earlier?
Right. So that's one of the things you have listed here is cutting edge cardiovascular services, oncology, and DeTar's Cancer Center. So those are some of the ways that you've expanded care access through the region. Is that right?
That is correct. So we're very fortunate. Dr. Sadhu is our electrophysiologist. So he's doing a lot of cutting edge procedures that are only done in the larger markets, right? So we have a new wireless pacemaker, which is pretty wild when you think about it, right? Your traditional pacemakers had a generator that was implanted here, and then you had wires that went to the heart. Now this is completely wireless, so it's pretty incredible the things that he is able to do here.
Wow.
He does ablations, right? So someone with uncontrolled AFib, right? They go in and actually kind of scar the muscle some to get them in normal rhythm. So very lucky to have them here. We also partner with UT in Houston. So they provide cardiovascular services to us. We're expanding that relationship. So now we have a vascular surgeon who is coming here weekly and is able to do procedures. So for someone that has carotid stenosis, he's able to come in and open that artery up. He's doing some cath lab procedures, not a lot in Victoria, and so we're lucky to really have him come down from Sugar Land, which for him it's an hour-and-a-half drive.
Right.
So we're pretty excited about the cardiovascular future. A lot of heart disease out there, and when we can give patients the option to stay here instead of having to travel to the big city, that is key, right? Traffic, pay for parking, and really there you can get great care, but you're one of many, right? You're one of 1,000 that are lined up to receive care. We feel like we provide that really hometown personalized service here with people who are familiar with us.
Right.
So that's, on the CV side, we're excited about expanding that. The cancer center side, nobody likes to hear that word, right? And we've seen substantial growth. And again, I always tell people, don't take it the wrong way. Nobody ever wants that horrible diagnosis. But since we've opened our cancer center a couple of years ago and added the radiation component, what we've really found and where we've succeeded is we've educated the public that there is great cancer care here in Victoria. Sometimes when people hear that terrible diagnosis in their mind, the first thing they need to do is hop in their car and drive as fast as they can to MD Anderson. What we've done is really educated people on, hey, you can stay here. Nobody wants to drive an hour-and-a-half or 2 hours for care. We are fortunate to have some outstanding providers. Dr. Ashraf, Dr. Jaffrey are our oncologists. They're actually husband and wife.
Oh, wow.
And so a lot of picking about who is better at what they do.
I bet.
But we were very lucky to find them 3 years ago. They came from the Houston market, and they were tired of the traffic. And so they came down and saw an opportunity here for them to be able to start in the cancer center when we just opened it and create and build something has been incredible for us.
Yeah. Are they here full time?
They are. They're here full time. And Dr. Jaffrey is just incredible, and his wife, Dr. Ashraf, is as well. She focuses a lot on breast cancer, but they both do general hematology and oncology. So, like I said, the growth has been significant, so much so that, in addition to Victoria, we were doing outlying markets and doing a clinic in some of with our outlying partners. So Cuero, Port Lavaca, Hallettsville. And so we found a physician who was retiring from the Valley and lives outside of Hallettsville. So Dr. Billy Morick is working 2 days a week for us. He has a farm up there, has a bunch of cows. So 3 days a week, he's doing the farm stuff. 2 days a week, he is actually seeing patients in our outlying markets. Does two things. One, it allows patients to be seen where they live. But the other part is it keeps Dr. Ashraf and Dr. Jaffrey in Victoria full-time and not going out. So that's been very successful for us, and he does a great job, right? He's done it for 30-plus years. So you look at that balance between two new providers who are 6 years out of training, and then Dr. Morick, who is 30-plus years, right? Very experienced, but both bring so much to the table.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's got a lot of great things going on. It kind of keeps me excited to get up every morning and come into DeTar knowing that we're making a difference in the community.
Definitely sounds like you are.
It is.
And there's a lot of intentional thought behind it, too. It sounds like as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking, wow, there's a lot of just intentionality behind it. So,
and you mentioned this earlier, right? We kind of saw ourselves masked during COVID, and as difficult as that was, Ashley, the aftermath of that for us as a healthcare organization was probably more difficult because at one point we had 150 open nursing positions, and that's out of 500,
Oh,
right
my
at 500
goodness.
nurses. Right,
Wow.
people had gone to work elsewhere. So we had to solve for that. And so we did it very deliberately. We looked at compensation, and the first thing we said was we need to be competitive. But then from there, we looked at how we partner with Victoria College, the things that we
Right.
do to support our nurses on the floor. And then we expanded that to how do we support all of our employees that are part of our team. So some of the things we did, we looked at all compensation across the entire organization. But we also, as a company, we looked at some different things. One is student loan repayment, right? In today's world, a lot of students are graduating with student loans. So we are partnering with an outside company that for certain positions will actually help them pay some of their loans. For others, we'll let them refinance with SoFi, who's the company we partnered with. And that's the small things. We pay for dues and licensure now. It's not a huge amount for each employee, but it's something.
Absolutely.
Right. And then we've grown. We also knew that, for a while we were struggling with ICU nurses. So we said, what do we do differently? So we partnered with Victoria College, and we developed a cohort program.
Nice.
So we have brought on, I think it's up to 15 nurses that came straight out of training, and we made them ICU nurses. Not your normal path, right? You start on the med-surg side, you kind of get your,
Oh, is that right?
cut your teeth, and then you move into that ICU level of
makes
care.
sense.
We said we're going to do it differently.
Yeah.
So we brought 7 in the first go around, and it was 6 months of training side by side with an experienced nurse and some additional didactic learning in a classroom setting. And then all 7 were all of a sudden ICU nurses after 6 months,
wow.
which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Pretty incredible.
Talk about on-the-job training.
It is. It is. Sometimes you can kind of put your head down and say, well,
Yeah.
we are where we are. What do? We said we're not gonna accept that. And
Right.
about 2 years ago, we had one of our units that was closed because of staffing. We reopened that, and we have not had contract nursing from outside agencies in that time period since then.
Because you were able to fill the
Because
vacancies.
we're able to fill those vacancies.
That's amazing. I was just going to ask you what was the outcome of your efforts, and it sounds like
No, we
it
have
was
have
great.
open positions,
Sure.
right? You're going to have people that decide to go do
Sure,
something
you always
different.
will.
But overall, from where we were post-COVID, just night and day.
Yeah,
Night and day.
I can imagine. And I know a lot of businesses, including the city, had to shift to really accommodate the changes in habits, behaviors, expectations of the workforce. So
Yep,
that makes sense.
Yeah, virtual. I was not a big fan of virtual, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of old school. I want to see people face to face.
I guess I am too. I prefer this. So,
Right.
yeah.
But what I did learn, and especially like on physician recruitment or even recruitment of leadership, it is okay to do a virtual out the gate. If you're going to do a phone call, now I've really pivoted to doing virtual.
Yeah.
I can see them on camera, right? See those mannerisms.
Right.
And it's allowed us to be more efficient. And then at the right time, then we bring them in.
Right.
Right. And we did a lot of telehealth where doctors were seeing patients by computer. That's really tapered off now.
Yeah.
We're back to safely seeing patients in person, and that's important.
It improves efficiency, but also flexibility for them, their situation from wherever they're coming. Talk to me about your family residency program.
Okay. So for family medicine, it's a 3-year program. The first year, they're really kind of cutting their teeth learning. So they work in pairs. So we have 7 faculty, and then right now we have 26 residents total. We actually adopted a couple of orphan residents on a program that closed in Dallas. So normally we have 8, 8, and 8. We adopted 2 whose program closed, so now we're at 26. So really, first year, as we joke, they're pushing the computer down the hallway on the inpatient side. So there's always a year 1, year 2, and year 3 together along with faculty. And so over time, after that first year, they're more confident, so they're seeing more patients in clinic. Then by year 3, they're really almost acting like a primary care physician on their own. But it's robust, and one of the things we've gotten as feedback from residents and why I think we've been successful is unlike other markets that are larger where you kind of don't get all the exposure, you get it with us.
I can imagine.
So, for instance, clinic, obviously they're seeing patients in our residency clinic, but they're also doing inpatient care. They're seeing patients in the ICU, and they do a rotation on our North Campus. So they have to do OB, and they do peds. So here's a little known fact that you may not know and others. At the North Campus, we have residents in-house 24/7. That coupled with the fact that we have pediatric nurses available, we're able to take pediatric admissions in, and the fact that we have residents in-house 24/7, right, and they're available if they're needed, is really a plus for us. And so a lot of times we find that others don't have pediatric nursing available, so we kind of become the go-to for pediatric admissions, not only in Victoria but outside of Victoria.
Well, I don't know if I shared this with you, but I do have 2 littles.
Okay.
So 5 and 3. And
Boys, girls?
Both boys.
Oh,
and so
bless you.
I know, as I was looking at where do I deliver, of course, one of the things I noticed about DeTar, and I'm sure this one's more well known, is you're a level 3 NICU.
That is correct.
And that stood out to me because that's not always the case.
Yes, that is true. So when I got here in 2020, we were the team had been working on what it meant to get to that level 3 status. So for anybody who doesn't know, right, there are different levelings. Level 2 does not require a physician to be in-house 24/7, a neonatologist. And there's also some age restrictions per the state regs that certain gestational age or lower, a level 2 should not be taken care of.
Right.
Level 4s are your Texas Children's, your Driscoll. They have a whole host of support specialists. So we became a level 3 about 2 years ago. We had, in anticipation of being that level 3 and demonstrating our ability to take care of any gestational age, we already had neonatologists in-house 24/7. So outside of the big markets, right, we're the only one that's a level 3 NICU. But Ashley, it's one of those things, nobody wants to think about NICU, right? When you go in to have a baby, you're expecting that your child is going to be healthy.
Oh, of course.
And not every baby that goes into the NICU is so critical, right? Sometimes they just are a little sluggish out the gate.
Right.
And they may need 4 or 5 days in the NICU. Medicine and technology is just phenomenal. Right, there are medications that they give now that help for premature babies to help with the organ development, kind of because they're kind of catching up, right? So we've been very proud of the level 3 designation that we've gotten, and nobody wants to talk about a NICU, but when you think about where you deliver, right, and it's certainly something to keep in mind.
I'll tell you, as much as we may not want to, we have to. And us as mamas, I'll tell you that. As a mom and at the time, expecting mom, you're thinking about all possible scenarios. I mean, it's probably not healthy in every scenario.
But it's a mom.
But it's a mom thing. I'm just going to use that slang. But it is a mom thing. And you're thinking about what could happen, what do I need to consider, and where will provide that support level of service. And so I just had to call that out because that's great. That's one thing that stands out to me when I think of what all recent efforts you guys have been undertaking. That one stood out.
I guess about 3 weeks ago, Emily, we did our NICU graduation, and we started doing that a few years ago.
Oh, my goodness. That is
pretty
so
awesome.
Precious. Emily, if you're listening, you're going to have to send me some pictures.
Yes, we posted them on social media.
Oh, that's
right,
great.
and staff are there, the neonatologists are there, and for them it's that excitement of
Oh,
seeing someone that they saw. And if
I
you've ever
bet.
seen, the first time in healthcare that I saw a premature baby in the NICU, I'm like, oh my God, they are so tiny.
Tiny, I bet.
Right, and to see them now thriving,
Mm-hmm.
it was a little bit of mass confusion, right? You had a lot of kids running around, and there was maybe a little bit of sugar involved, but it was just a great event because
That is awesome.
the fact that they started when you know, especially for the
Mm-hmm.
staff, they started at this place, and it may have been touch and go for a while, and to see them now thriving and
Right. Wow.
and families being able to share stories.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have some of them that were their children were in the NICU at the same time. So
Right.
so they've moved on.
Aw.
Their babies are 2, 3, 4, 5, and they have the opportunity to see each other. And now, your baby
Probably a
looks
tight
great.
bond of community there.
Yeah, because it's a difficult time, right? There's some uncertainty, and as you said, as a mom, you worry, right? Even as a dad, right? You want the best for
Absolutely.
your kids, and for us, our first was we almost put in a bubble, right? And
Yeah. The more you
second
know,
one-
sometimes it can do that.
yeah. But we're so worried, like, oh
Yeah.
no, don't come. She hadn't
You
had
loosen
any
up over
shots.
time.
You do, you do. But it was great for us
Yeah.
to see all of the kids come back together. We
That's
do that. We do
fantastic.
that annually, and it's
That's
been
so
good.
cool that you
It
guys
is.
facilitate that sense of community. Well, praise God. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask, just to kind of wrap everything up, there's so much that you guys have already done. So much y'all are doing right now, like the, what was that, the peanut butter jars you were just showing us with community engagement. Is there anything we can be looking forward to on the horizon that DeTar is looking ahead to be doing? Other than, of course, you mentioned TAMUV partnership, but
Right.
anything else?
One of the things, Ashley, that we continue to be focused on is making sure that we have specialty coverage for the community. And so one of the things that we quickly identified as some gaps at times are GI coverage for like bleeds, and then urology. So on any given weekend, there is no urology coverage or GI coverage outside of DeTar to the major markets. And so that's become known, and now on the weekends, people know that we are a resource for that. So we get transfers when others don't have that specialist on call. We see that as a way to give back to the community, right? For nobody wants to get transferred to Houston or to Austin or San Antonio for care. So that is something that we're very excited about as we continue to add and bolster that coverage. And so, the one thing that as we look at telling our story, right? And thank you for having me on to be able to tell our DeTar story.
Absolutely.
That people understand the investment that we've made to have those specialists available.
Right.
PD is another one, right? And I talked about it earlier of having our residents in-house. And we're fortunate to have PD nurses who are skilled. So when someone has an issue with their child, right? Then we know that they can come to DeTar North, and we're going to take care of them.
Yep. That's fantastic. But speaking of community support and investment, let's conclude with VISD Education Foundation. I know that one is really near and dear to your heart. You're passionate about it. And y'all recently provided a significant amount of support in that area, did you not?
We
Can you
did.
tell me about it?
We did. So, I'm fortunate to have a lot of people on my team who come up with great ideas. I will take credit for that one because we were very active with the American Heart Association on the Heart and Stroke Walk, and still are. Right? But as I looked at the community and how we could benefit the community, one of the things we identified was we can be more active in the schools. And so we said, how do we go about that? And so we realized that VISD has an education foundation. Their goal is to gain support either through grant funding or donations. And then they use those funds to be able to add education that's outside of your normal curriculum, or it may be part of the normal curriculum. So when we looked at it, we said, if we support VISD Education Foundation, how can we impact students to let them know in high school or even in middle school that in a hospital, there's more than just doctors and nurses. There are people who work in the lab, people who are respiratory therapists, people who work in imaging. There are people who work in our clinics. And so we identified that opportunity. And I met with the director. And the first time I met, she said, just so you know, I'm going to be headed over to the county. I said, okay. And then lo and behold, Aaron Gillespie, who we already had a relationship with because he's a pastor, and came and saw patients at the hospital. Next thing I know, Aaron is the director.
He's great.
He's now on our board. And so we're excited about developing support and some curriculum with them to further kids' interest in healthcare.
Love it.
And so this past year, and we've done this, I think the third year we've done it, for Doctor's Day, which is at the end of March, instead of giving a gadget, right, we said, we're going to go to you and we're going to ask you to identify someone that we could make a donation, an organization would make a donation on your behalf. So for a hospital our size within our company, that was a $6,000 donation. So we took $1,000, we gave it to Jars of Love. The other $5,000, we took ideas to the medical staff. And we said, we'd really like to support VISD Education Foundation, and here's the why. They were on board with it. We donated the $5,000 to them. Right as we did that, they said, we don't have an EKG machine. And they have a CNA class where they're teaching students how to become a nursing assistant.
That's awesome.
And so we said, aha, how much is it? They said it's about $3,200. We went back to the medical staff and said, how about this? And they said, absolutely. So we bought a new EKG machine. Then on top of that, we had put some kind of in semi-retirement because we'd gotten new machines. So we had them, quote, as backup. And we realized we had some machines that were sitting there.
That's
so
nice.
we donated a second one to them. Right, and then we got to go to their pinning ceremony. And you see students who may not be college material right now, who then say, I've got a future, right? And so for that, we're excited and we're identifying opportunities.
We'll keep an eye out for sure. VISD Education Foundation, y'all, if you want to learn more. Or, of course, DeTar Hospital. Of course, we can look at y'all's Facebook page, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll take a look there. And one last thing I wanted to ask, this is totally off topic, is you have to conclude with a fun fact about yourself.
Okay, so I'll give you a couple. One,
this will be fun.
One, I was born and raised on a farm, so we still have a hay operation. I don't nearly get there like I used to, but I do enjoy getting on the tractor and baling some hay. It's what I grew up doing. So that's fun fact number one.
That is very fun.
Second fun fact, so there's Cajun music, right? It's an accordion, guitar, fiddle. And so as a high school student, I actually picked up the accordion and learned to play. And don't play nearly as much as I used to, but I have a brother that plays the guitar. And so it's what we grew up listening to. And so when we do get together, we'll play French music and sing in French. And
that is so neat.
Yeah.
You grew up in Louisiana.
I did.
Okay.
I did. A little tiny town called Iota.
That's right. Awesome.
I graduated 84 in my high school, so that tells you size-wise. It's pretty small.
That is
no
fun.
red lights, only stop signs.
Oh, yeah. I bet.
So that's small.
Well, we've had a great conversation. I want to thank you again just for coming on, spending time, everything that you do for the community, you and your staff. Huge shout out to anyone who's working for DeTar right now. Thank you for what you do. I know, I don't know personally, but I can imagine the medical field is challenging, but it sounds so rewarding. So thanks again.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you next time. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Town Talk. Check out future episodes at victoriatx.gov/Town Talk, or of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel and our Spotify account. Make sure you hit that notification button to be sure that you get alerted instantly when our new episodes debut. You don't want to get behind. You want to stay informed, so make sure you do that. We appreciate your support. Couldn't do it without you. So thanks again, and we'll talk to you next time.